When you're a young team like the Houston Texans are, you cannot allow meltdowns like this to happen. And when you, the Houston Texans offense, even though you had a relatively good day, you fell apart in the fourth quarter, you fell apart in overtime, and allowed these Indianapolis Colts to come back and tie the game. Even though there is no loss next to the Houston Texans, I am going ahead and count that as one because you had a division rival who was going to be in the playoffs at the end of the year. You had them by the throat, and you couldn't knock them out. You couldn't put them away. That falls on this offense. That falls on Davis Mills, on this offensive line, on offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton. I really think besides the running issues that the Texans defense had, in the fourth quarter and overtime, that they gave this Houston Texans offense enough chances to put these Indianapolis Colts away, and that just didn't happen whatsoever. And you have to look at the quarterback, Davis Mills. He just fell apart. And he had a relatively good game, right? His first three quarters, he looked okay. He was very shaky in the beginning of the first, got into a rhythm. At one point, completed 8 straight passes, 2 touchdowns on the game, 240 yards. He was 23 of 37 with a 98.9 rating. So, yes, he didn't have a bad day, but when the lights were on and everyone was looking at Davis Mills to not only win this game, but put a stamp on it and say, I am here, I am the franchise quarterback, he didn't do that. That is concerning. Yes, it is week 1 and we still have 16 more games to go, but I've been saying this all year. Even though I love Davis Mills and I think he could be a starter and a franchise quarterback, the leash is short for him. And when you have a game like today where you could have put the Indianapolis Colts away just by getting a couple first downs, Davis Mills couldn't do that. And it wasn't all on him. This offensive line absolutely collapsed itself. They didn't have a sack up until the fourth quarter where Laramie Tunsil has that miscommunication and Davis Mills gets drilled and fumbles. And then Titus Howard lets 2 sacks go in overtime. Everything fell apart. But my main concern with this offense is, why is Ricky Damian Pierce not the focal point and the heartbeat of his offense? Rex Burkhead isn't bringing that thump. He's not bringing that fire. When you see Damian Pierce get the ball, it looks like he is shot out of a cannon. Multiple times you thought he was very close to breaking one away. And why do you not play him on 3rd and 1 to extend, and get the first down and extend overtime and potentially set yourself up for a game-winning field goal? You call a timeout and then you let Rex Burkhead lose 3 yards. I'm not putting Burkhead in that situation. I am putting my 4th-round running back, who was the best running back in training camp, who was the best running back in preseason. That's who I'm putting on 3rd and 1. Why Pep Hamilton didn't do that, I don't know whatsoever. But for the first 3 quarters, the offense looked okay. O.J. Howard absolutely made his presence today. Just signed last week. 2 touchdowns on the day. Brandon Cooks had 85 yards. A huge 50-yard bomb to start the second half. If Davis Mills throws that ball a little bit better, that is a touchdown to start the half for this Houston Texans. And now we're all systems rolling. We fell apart, and it was painful to watch because with the ongoing drama from last season, with the entire situation, you wanted to win today and send yourself off into week 1 with your head held high and knowing, that your hard work is paying off. When you look at the defensive side, couldn't stop the run, 161 yards from Jonathan Taylor. That was how the Houston Texans lost. I really think this secondary, besides allowing Michael Pittman to have 121 yards, I think they had a relatively good day. Steven Nelson looked good. Jonathan Owens had that big pass breakup in the end zone. Derek Stingley also had a couple nice plays, but Michael Pittman coming into his second year absolutely looked good. Our second year wide receiver Nico Collins absolutely did not look good whatsoever. Jerry Hughes, veteran, absolutely made a name for himself. Was so hyped to see this guy do good. A sack, a interception, and then caused that false start at right at the end of halftime, which kicked the Indianapolis Colts out of field goal range. shout out to Jerry Hughes, man. I really felt like this defense came to play. The stop on fourth down by Jonathan Grenard, it was all leading up into the fourth quarter where everything freaking collapsed is where my issue is. Justin Britt also did not have a good game whatsoever. That's pretty much all I could say. I thought the Houston Texans were going to win this game. At one point, they were up 20-3, and then everything fell apart. Now tomorrow we're gonna break down more on this game and how they fell apart. But my initial reaction is I'm not happy. Even though the offense and the defense both look way better than what they did last year, you had a chance to seal it. You had a chance to upset the Indianapolis Colts, and yet you failed to, and you had every chance to. The Indianapolis Colts fucked up many times during the game, and that's not going to happen again. So, yes, even though there is not a loss on our Houston, column, I'm going to put it as one. Let me know if you agree. As always, go Texans. You guys have a very blessed day.